Microsoft has just been stepping in doo-doo on the Windows side of things pretty much left and right lately. They had their whole fiasco with recall last year.
Which they've just kept
Windows,
at.
We've got a video coming soon comparing original recall and new recall, and it is better, but is still
It's still a recall.
deeply problematic.
Nice.
Windows has just felt like such a bloated mess lately, dude. I had to go through the initial setup wizard recently, and it's just like, can I just use my computer? Can you just... You don't need to know if I need it for entertainment or media or game. I mean, all of it. Just move.
Windows device setup is horrible.
Get out of the way.
It's actually terrible.
None of this matters.
I remember late 2000s, new device setup. Honestly, MacBook or Windows was like kind of a cool experience. And now it just sucks. I don't know about MacBook. I haven't done it in a long time. But the Windows laptop setup is terrible.
And then meanwhile, Dave 2D compared two identical Legion Go S's, one with Windows 11 and the other with SteamOS. The SteamOS version outperformed its Windows counterpart by, I gotta say, a shocking amount. Like I remember not that long ago when Windows consistently was faster than Linux for gaming.
Yeah.
That is no longer the case. Spider-Man 2 out of Cyberpunk, you guys are going to have to go check out the video if you want the exact numbers, because it's Dave 2D's numbers. But out of Cyberpunk, Helldivers 2, Doom Eternal, Spider-Man 2, and Witcher 3, only one of them was a win for Windows 11 compared to SteamOS, and just barely. Like, I am talking by like run-to-run variance, 1 frame per second difference. And this is in spite of the fact that we're dealing with the Proton compatibility layer. Like, that is mind-blowing. That's how far Linux drivers have come, and that's how much less overhead SteamOS offers compared to Windows. Not to mention that on the SteamOS version of the Legion Go S, you're not paying for Windows. So it's over $100 cheaper at retail, according to his video. We also saw a similar performance delta in a video from Random Gaming HD's video comparing an identical system running both Windows 10 and SteamOS. So in this case, it was a desktop system with a 12400F processor, 16 gigs of RAM, 6500 XT GPU, and a 256 gig NVMe SSD. SteamOS once again won, this time in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Black Myth Wukong, and Forza Horizon 4. CS2 was a win for Windows, but I mean, SteamOS got over 150 FPS. So it's not like it's really an issue anyway. Meanwhile, in other Windows gaming news, Microsoft is apparently temporarily sidelining their rumored Xbox handheld gaming device to focus on optimizing the Windows 11 gaming experience, especially for mobile devices.
Good luck with that.
Their cloud gaming device and ROG Ally 2 collab seem to be unaffected. This is, I don't know, good news? I don't know what it is. Because on the one hand, it's not like Microsoft clearly is incapable of building a streamlined, low overhead operating system for gaming. Literally, that's what runs on the Xbox. But whether Windows has just gotten too bloated, or whether they've been unfocused, or whether their partners are not delivering on the driver quality that they need, and they're probably not that as much. It's clear that Windows gaming has gone, like, they can't figure it out, can they?
My lack of enthusiasm for this, I think, is based around, like, practically every time that they've tried to touch it, they've just either done nothing or made it worse, as far as my understanding goes.
They've done some cool stuff. I mean, remember back...
Gaming mode was worse, if you remember.
I'm not talking about gaming mode, but remember Vista had that, like...
Dude, okay, when's the launch date of Vista, bro?
I'm just saying...
January 30th, 2007!
Okay. In Vista,
It's been almost 20 years.
in Vista, there was a My Games folder
That's
that
terrifying.
consolidated the location of all your game like config files and save files and everything.
I remember that.
This was back before cloud save was just a thing you could take for granted in every game, and it was super useful because when you reformat it or whatever, you could just grab that folder, make sure
Yeah.
you back it up, and dump it into that folder again on the new system, except for the games that didn't put their stuff in there. Those ones you had to go hunting for, so it still kind of sucked. But yeah, Microsoft just can't. I mean, Games for Windows Live seemed well-intentioned,
What happened to that folder?
but was horrible. Yeah, the folder went away. Games for Windows Live went away. That one we're happy about.
We're stoked on that one.
Yeah, we're pretty
Except
stoked.
it didn't fully go away, did it?
I mean, mostly.
Yeah.
Like-
the ways that it was bad back then are gone, but they still have their like Microsoft login, which is
Oh, yeah.
horrible.
Oh,
You were
dude.
talking the other day about how it just like it makes you re-log in or something.
So no, what happens is, and I don't know if it's specific to Minecraft Dungeons or something, but because we would often go months between playing it, my kids and I like played Minecraft Dungeons for a bit. It's a Diablo clone. It's Minecraft skinned anyway. It's kind of fun. So we'd go sometimes months between playing. So I would have to log in 4 accounts. And for some reason, mine was bugged so that and of course your password manager doesn't work properly with like a pop-up inside a game.
Yeah.
So sometimes the game would get bugged. So the prompt like wouldn't show up in the pop-up and you'd have to like go delete some config file to get it to show up. And then when it would show up, for some reason, something to do with my account, whether it's because it's like an LMG account or whether it's because it's like a parent account or something, I don't know. But if I typo my password, that's it. I have to reset my password. There's no like go back and try again, nothing. It immediately goes, you need to reset your password.
Yeah, it's
if
too
I
much.
enter it wrong one time.
I enter passwords wrong all the time.
Well, yeah, because my passwords are long and have special characters and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm at the point now where when I enter my Microsoft password, I'm like, finger peck to make sure that I get it right because I don't mind changing my passwords once in a while. It's a good security practice. What I don't like is changing my passwords all the time, especially when they're ones that I use every day. And I do kind of try to memorize because it's more convenient than, you know, I'm unlocking my phone and then open the app and then authenticate the app and then navigate to the I hate password managers. So where were we going with this? Right, yeah, gaming on Windows is an absolute dumpster fire. Dude, the fact that it takes like 10 minutes to go from like first opening the game to actually driving a car in Forza is
I was just going to bring up Forza because I actually really, really liked Horizon 5. And it's the first racing game in a very long time that I was like, I want my friends to come play this with me. I convinced one person to buy the game and play with me. I am very lucky that they had a great time with the game single player because playing with them multiplayer just didn't work. And I just stopped recommending the game to all my friends. Because I was like, we can't play together anyways, so they'll either find it themselves or whatever, I guess. And it was purely because of like Microsoft's junk matchmaking and login stuff. You try to play Halo, you launch on Steam, everything's fine, you're like, blump, login. Well, cool. Invite people to the party, maybe they don't show up, things don't work like a huge percentage
or they
of the time.
are working, but like you can't see their avatar.
See it.
And we all know that seeing the avatar is the whole point anyway, so they can sell more skins. So,
so
get it right, Microsoft.
How does that part not work? I don't know. It's
to be clear, I'm rooting for Microsoft to fix this. Like I'm super into it. Competition is good. I don't want a SteamOS monopoly in gaming any more than I want a Windows monopoly in gaming.
Yeah,
that's not healthy either. I want this fixed, especially because there's always going to be edge cases that, you know, Proton compatibility layer can't fix, you know, older games or whatever the case may be. Like I want Windows to be a robust gaming platform. I'm starting to lose hope. And this is interesting. The battery life testing was fascinating. Dave's video is called "Windows Was the Problem All Along." And the full load tests
great title, by the way,
are not that interesting. The battery life when you're really running everything full tilt, relatively similar. I mean, not the same, not the same at all, but relatively, at least within the same sort of
Windows still
area.
loses.
But when you're running like lower, less demanding, like side scroller type games, SteamOS absolutely steamrolls Windows, like to a degree that I wouldn't have thought was possible.
We'll get more into it when we get to that outro section, but I was playing Final Fantasy VI on my laptop on the plane, and I was very lucky that it had a like full fat power plug on the plane, because it was not going to last me very long, and I'm playing Final Fantasy VI, dude. Like, come on. Windows battery life is so bad.
Like you could run that game on a watch, easily these days.
Come on. Ugh.
Oh man, I had my own issues traveling and gaming on Windows. I'm finally okay. This should give you some idea of how deep my game backlog is. I finally picked up Psychonauts 2.
That's been a bit.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Anyway, the point is, I bought it back when it came out. So, man, what's Schaefer's company called again? Whatever. I don't know, his developer. So they got my money, so I supported the game. I loved Psychonauts 1. It was awesome. Anyway, so I finally picked it up, and my laptop was running it great. This thing has, I think, like a 4070 or something like that in it, like pretty powerful GPU, considering the thinness and the flexible form factor. So I've got it all like set up in front of me in like tent mode. And
nice.
I decided, and I regret this, but I decided when I was holding my Ally and my laptop and a controller, I was like, I have to bring my laptop anyway. So why don't I just game on my laptop? Yeah. Why bother? They both support my external GPU thing with the 4080 or 4090 or whatever in it, the XG Mobile. So why wouldn't I just bring my laptop? That ended up not working out great at all. So first of all, when I tried to use my XG Mobile, I tripped the breaker on the airplane plug.
Oh.
So I wasn't able to use my external GPU anyway, because I guess it draws too much power, so that was irritating.
Yeah, my laptop's pretty low power.
Yeah, but that's fine, because I actually have a decent GPU on this thing anyway. But then, when I wanted to... So I was able to pair my controller, everything, that was fine. But this is hilarious. I was on the plane's Wi-Fi, and I guess we were flying China Air, because we were going over to Taiwan, and somehow the game... Okay, I don't know how this happened. Okay, I have no idea. But I am guessing that somehow the network that I was connected to picked up my time zone or location or something, and somehow the game picked that up, and I was speeding through the initial setup menus, and I accidentally selected Chinese for the language of the game, which normally wouldn't be that big of a deal. But seriously, Google this, I'm not imagining it. Psychonauts 2 buries the language configuration in the accessibility menu, like
accessibility menu.
Yeah, instead of just having it like kind of obvious.
Usually it's
like
pretty early.
If you're fighting your way, to try to change the bloody language. And because my phone wasn't actually connected to the internet, I couldn't just use Lens to translate it unless I bought another stupid Wi-Fi flight pass. Because they figured out my trick. So I had this hack that I used to use on airplanes to share one Wi-Fi access across all my devices. Windows, is actually super cool, supports mobile hotspotting from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi. So lots of other devices support being connected to a landline and then sharing and tethering over Wi-Fi, or being on 5G and tethering over Wi-Fi or whatever. But Windows supports sharing a Wi-Fi connection. I'm going to get to that, Top Gear. So Anyway, somehow they've kind of figured that out, I guess, and they've done something with the Wi-Fi connection on most of the flights that I've been on recently that makes Windows think you're not connected. So the little globe in the corner is all like, nope, you're not connected. And then that grays out the mobile hotspot sharing thing. You can't force it, even though your connection totally works. Oh. And I couldn't find, I looked up guides, and I wasted I wasted a bunch of my expensive flight pass Wi-Fi trying to figure out how to bypass the blocks that they had on my expensive flight pass Wi-Fi. If anyone knows how to fix that, I'd be super open to it. Anyway, what did Top Gear say? Oh, shoot, I lost the comment I was going to get to. Oh, yeah. Top Gear says, change the config file in Psychonauts. It doesn't work. So they have a guide that I Googled and found that if you want to change it to, I think it's French or German or something like that, you go in the config file and you just put language that, and then it will change to that language. But it doesn't appear to work for English, because I guess the assumption is just that it was already English and you were trying to change it to, I don't know, but it didn't work. So anyway, I eventually managed to change it, and I was gaming, and then the lights on the plane went out because it was like nighttime, time to sleep, and I went to adjust the brightness of my screen, and for some reason, whether it's because I'm using a third-party application now instead of Armory Crate on this thing, like it's, I forget what it's called, but it's super cool. Basically, it takes all of the nightmare of Armory Crate and boils it down to this tiny little interface here. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it? Nope. Yeah, here it is. G Helper. That's what it's called. So there. It takes all of Armory Crate. Update right now. It takes all of Armory Crate and makes it this, which is awesome. And like Armory Crate with the XG Mobile, the external GPU will sometimes get bugged. And you'll like plug it in, but it won't prompt you to activate it, or like it's plugged in and it won't prompt you to deactivate it, and like it's not safe to. I literally bricked a mobile GPU. That, remember when you tripped on it? Yeah. And it unplugged the mobile GPU? If you unplug it expectedly, I think that one literally died because I never got it working again. So it really matters. So anyway, this lets you just override it. It just has a button, and you'd be like, XG Mobile, and it always works. So I don't know if it's because of this or because of something else, but I can't adjust my brightness when it's plugged in. So in the dark of the plane, I have like
this glowing,
the power of the sun beaming into my eyes. And then if I wanted to try to game on battery, dude, I'd have gotten less than an hour for sure. Like less than an hour out of this thing if I was actually trying to play a full fat 3D game. Maybe more than an hour, but like this is like a 10-hour flight. So I was like, well, I have nothing but bad options. I wish I just brought my stupid handheld. I forget what we were supposed to be talking about.
I think we're just complaining about Windows.
Oh yeah, so that, well then I was doing great. Good job, Linus.
I will also bundle in that complaining about Windows means kind of complaining about the state of Windows laptops, because that's sort of what you're doing right now. And I will re-bring up what I now know is probably called the screen locking problem that I had with my laptop. I haven't.
Someone on the subreddit said it might be to do with your attention. Yeah. This.
I haven't had a chance to actually do this because this was uploaded. Like I was in the air by the time this was posted. Cool. So I haven't had a chance to do it, but this makes so much sense.
Yeah. So this is
I just believe it's it.
Yeah. This is a thing where like if you look away from the laptop, it blanks the screen.
But here's my problem.
Yeah.
I just think it basically doesn't work at all. That's my current stance on it. Because it can be daytime and I'm staring right at it and it will just lock. It can be nighttime and I have something covering the webcam and it'll work just fine for like an hour and then randomly lock.
It's a fine line, dude, because as a company like Microsoft, right, you have to give your partners room to differentiate their products. Yeah. Otherwise, you might as well be Apple, right? You end up with no innovation.
You lose your special
But
sauce
you also have to just like keep the leash at a reasonable length because they're just going to do dumb shit.
So stupid. And my biggest problem with this is it doesn't tell you at all.
Right.
Like if I slept the computer, woke it back up so that I could actually use it again, and then there was like a little ba-dung, and in the corner it was like, by the way, that was us.
But then you wouldn't want that to happen every time.
I could turn this off if I want to. I could also at that point in time say, don't
never
tell me
prompt
this again.
me about this again.
But it would be really sick if it told me at least one time. Because again, I haven't had time to change this setting. I pretty much guarantee you this is the actual problem. So like, no, I haven't tested it, but it makes so much sense that this would be it. Especially because I ran into the Hardware Canucks guys while I was at Computex.
Oh, yeah?
And one of them told me that they saw that bit on the show. They have a very similar version of a Lenovo laptop and have the exact same problem.
Okay, so it's probably that then.
Yes.
Probably the screen lock.
So now I have to go around and like tell everyone that I know that has this laptop, and a bunch of people have reached out being like, yeah, I have the same stupid problem. I've thought about returning it, blah, 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 blah. It's like, Lenovo, do you understand? Like, everyone thinks you suck, and it's just a software setting. Like, people think your laptops suck and are broken, and that's not even the case.
Dude,
outside of that, I love that laptop.
The amount of product problems that are caused seemingly by just nobody at the company actually using the product is mind-blowing.
It has to be the case here.
It's mind-blowing.
Or it's a problem where you have a overly informed expert.
Yeah, or that.
Where they know what this is.
Like,
so they just deal with it.
Yvonne is doing an iPhone challenge right now. So she just switched over to iPhone, and getting WhatsApp backed up and migrated between Android and iOS is like inexcusably broken. The fact that has, so she lost a bunch of message history. I lost a bunch of message history, even though I mostly know what I'm doing. Like it will say you backed up to it'll tell you what Google account it's backed up to. And then you go to restore it and it's like missing a bunch of stuff because there's like a specific way you have to do it when you're migrating between devices where you have to scan the QR code. So I didn't really screw up because the QR code was there and I was trying to scan it, but the camera was like blurry and there was no alternative. You have to scan the QR code. There's no other way. And then I wasn't able to do it. So I lost like 4 months of my message history because that part wasn't like backed up on that phone yet or something. And it had to restore from one other thing. And their backups are just broken. It's infuriating. Kara Kuroto, don't worry about my tennis elbow. I am intentionally moving it. I'm not doing anything in weird positions. I'm okay. And this is just like a massage thing. It's fine.
He's all right.
Yeah.
That made me think of something else I want to bring up, but I'm not going to tangent us at this time, so I just add the note for later.
Hurts, but it's stronger. All right, what are we supposed to be doing?
Any more Windows complaining to do?
No,
or
I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on from Windows in general. If it wasn't for anti-cheat and just like application compatibility lock-in, I don't see why I would use it anymore.
If I could get away from multiple games that I play only working on Windows, and like genuinely right now, if I could get away from that, I would switch on my personal computer.
Maybe it's time for a Linux challenge again.
Another one?
Maybe it's time. I keep telling myself I'm going to wait for SteamOS. Like and it's coming. Like they have an installer that is now validated for non-Valve handhelds. And it does work on desktops as long as you've got a compatible desktop, which I kind of do actually. I think I have like a 79.
Does SteamOS actually
7950X
offer anything uniquely?
Does it what? Sorry?
Does it offer anything uniquely?
It offers being ready to go. Which
so you can still install like the there's no special sauce just for SteamOS in relation to like Proton or anything like that.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you should be able to have the full SteamOS experience on something else, pretty much, as long as you're willing to kind of configure it a little. But
yeah, I don't think it needs much. I feel like
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and that's fine. We used different distros last time.
We totally did.
Yeah. I was trying to evaluate for myself, basically, do I just want to use Mint again? Because like that's what I would want to do.
Right.
But then I want the best possible gaming setup. So like, can I still do that on Mint?
You should be able to.
Probably.
And like realistically, you have more software troubleshooting capabilities than I do. So I would definitely lean toward the more set and forget, ready to go Linux distro.
I'm also like, I don't know how this works, but even with like a 6-year gap between using Mint, it like immediately felt familiar again. So like I kind of want to go back to that thing.
Yeah.
Because like whatever way they've done it, Mint just like feels really good to me.
And what's nice about using a full desktop distro that's
like old Windows.
intended for that use case is that you're not going to be limited by some of the things that are not that way about SteamOS. Like SteamOS, to my knowledge, still doesn't have baked-in printer support.
Yeah, like I wonder if you're going to be running into like your aversion to wanting to set up things for gaming. I wonder if it's going to set you up for failure in other ways.
Yeah, could very well be. Admittedly, I didn't spend a long time, but I probably burned about half an hour trying to like install printer support on SteamOS because we were trying to use an ancient printer and we couldn't find a Windows driver that worked. I was like, right, Linux. What's the closest Linux machine that I have? A Steam Deck. I'll just plug it into a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And it totally didn't work.
Yeah. Someone in Full Plane Chat said doing it on, I don't know what they mean by it, but I'm assuming they mean like Proton stuff. Doing it on Mint for the last 3 months, super easy so far. Hell yeah.